Big shout out to Prime XBT for sponsoring today's video. If you don't know who Prime are a platform where you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade FX, commodities, and stock indices. And the beauty of these guys is you can use crypto, either Bitcoin or USDT, as collateral to trade against these pairs. If you want to find out more about them, then check out the links down in the description. And if you do want to trade with them, then use our codes below to get up to a 7,000 USDT deposit bonus and 25% off trading fees. So thanks once again for sponsoring today's video. Good morning, gang. Welcome to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, as usual, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, and it's my outlook on the market. Happy New Year, everyone. The first video of the new year. Obviously, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a great one. If you don't celebrate Christmas, then I just hope you had some nice time with your family and friends and had a nice break. And now it's time to get back into the markets. So we're gonna start off today with Fetch.ai, whatever it's called. These were picked from Twitter. We put out a poll on Twitter to see what altcoins you guys wanted to see, and we've picked 3 of them to run through today. So let's begin with FET. Monthly outlook, quite clearly still downtrending. We did obviously close December. Well, we closed December slightly higher than November, but in the general context of things, we are still creating lower lows. Again, we're just going sideways, very similar to what Bitcoin and a lot of the other coins are doing. Weekly, sideways as hell, and daily, we're still range bound quite clearly. So let's zoom out and let's get a view of what's going on, shall we? So first and foremost, like we always do, let's throw on a volume profile of the overall price action. This is going back to February 2019, so I'm not sure if this is the inception of the coin, but for the Binance chart, it looks like it is. And we can quite clearly see now that we are currently stuck between the value area high, and we've not actually hit the point of control. But we have come into this high volume node here, so we can just see this if we, in fact, if we throw it on log scale, we might be able to see that a little bit easier. We've got a high volume node just above the point of control, and that's where price action's bottomed out of so far. Let's zoom this up. There we go. We can see this. There's your high volume node, and that's perfectly come down, hit that high volume node, and we've got a nice reaction there so far. And that's looking like 144% reaction. So it's, yeah, very good reaction. So what could happen from here, and what would my plans be if I was trading this particular altcoin? Well, let's have a look. First and foremost, so let's throw on. In fact, there we are. Let's throw on a range. Let's see how well this is respecting this local range that we're in. I could use this high here. This does look quite good now. This is on a weekly time frame. Let's zoom into the daily. Yeah, this looks like a very good range. And what we can do is, to make this even better, is throw on a local volume profile within this range. So obviously this range has been going on since June last year. So, you know, it's a very well-established range. We can see we've got the respect at the lows, respect at the lows, respect at the highs, deviation for the liquidity grab of all these stops, back down around the EQ, point of control, value area low, value area high, value area low, value area high, deviation, which would have been a very nice play to take out these stops here. Grab the liquidity, and we've had a pump since then. Back through, swing fail again of the top of the range. Yes, it's beautiful range plays this. Take out the stops from this before ultimately coming back in, testing the EQ / point of control, back up value area high. So, what could happen here? Well, first and foremost, this is not an area where I'd be looking for longs, purely because we're at the top of the range. Could this break out and go north? Yes, it could. It could, but from a risk-reward point of view, you know, you're up at the value area high, you're up at the range high. Why would you be longing into resistance? Because right now, this whole area is resistance, quite simply. So the easiest idea from this would be either another stab up, could happen, or this could be the last stab up. which in turn then could bring us back down, back towards the Q/point of control. If that didn't hold, then I'd be looking back down at this value area low. We could throw on a fib retracement as well, see if we've got any more confluence down here. Well, as we can see here, we've got the 0.5 bang on that EQ, bang on that point of control, so we've got good confluence there. So if you were looking for longs, this could potentially be a region looking for longs anywhere within this zone, I would say. Let's throw that to a green box. So that'd be first and foremost. If that didn't hold, obviously we've got the golden pocket here, which would be a nice swing failure pattern of the value area low. However, from what's happened back here and what's happened since this push up, there'll be no real liquidity grab there, because the only liquidity to grab is this here, this wick here. So dip below that, grab the liquidity for another potential bounce, could be on the cards. If the Q/point of control didn't hold, then ultimately I'd be looking for price action to continue to roll over back down to these range lows. Now, these range lows, these will be critical in my opinion, because this could signal potentially we've got a low, we've got a high. This could potentially, or even here, but down here, could present as a higher low and then looking for a move up. If no reaction here, and price did come back down here and then just drop back through, then you'll be looking for lower. If we zoom out, do we have lower price action? Let's throw this on here. Come on, move along. There we go. That works out quite well. So obviously, if no reaction down at the range lows and no deviation of these, no stop hunt of these, then I'd be looking ultimately back down at this point of control. This point of control comes in roughly around 4 cents. If no reaction there, then, I'm sorry to say it, but, likely we're coming back down towards initially this consolidation here. But for me, I'd probably favour more the value area low, the overall value area low. When did this happen? This happened on, the March 20 lows. Quite simple, level to level. So if it does break to the upside, what happens then? Well, let's have a look. Let's zoom in here. Let's just remove that for the time being. Zoom in. Right. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. What happens if it goes to the upside? Well, let's have a see what's going on up here. Do we have a nice SR flip up here? We do have one using this point here. See this as a deviation. Yeah, let's change the color of this just so we can get a little bit of a difference on the chart. So to the upside, if price does break out of this range and push up, and we don't get an SFP of this level, then ultimately I'll be looking back up towards this range area here, which would tie in nicely to this little consolidation here before the breakdown. And we can see here we've got a point of control coming in here around 15 cents, give or take. And if it managed to get a little bit higher, which it is an altcoin, it could be coming up towards like 16, 17 cents. Above that, if it does manage to get back into the old range, then obviously then you're just back to playing this range here. Obviously then you've got your EQ in the middle, quite clear resistance. Your EQ kind of lines up with this previous pivot here. But yeah, that'd be it. Quite simply, get above here, no SFP of these levels. I'll be aiming back towards these range lows here, and obviously we can see that these range lows have got respect, and obviously this is a consolidation underneath resistance before the ultimate pull away, because price action here couldn't get back into that range to push back up. So ultimately that would be my target if it does break out of this local range. But until that breakout does happen, I'd be quite comfortable just continuing this range. And like I teach in the group, you trade the range until it breaks. Eventually, one way will give, and you will be stopped out of a trade, and you'll take a loss, and that's perfectly acceptable. And then you wait for your next area of interest. And that for me, obviously, that would be up here. If it doesn't break out, just continue trading. Very simple, level to level. You know, as I say, the main thing with this is, you know, are we looking for a higher low and a change of structure on a higher time frame? It's possible, but that will be it. Right, so that's FET. Next is DYDX. Didx? I don't even know how you pronounce this. Right, let's have a look at this. Wow, this just goes down. Great looking altcoin. So I'm gonna see. So volume profile initially. Right now I'm looking on this on Binance chart, which is going back to September 21. There might be more data on other exchanges, but this will do for the time being. Obviously, since inception, pump up to the highs. The highs coming in at roughly around $29, and then since then it's just been down, and then sideways. It's pretty obvious to see right here that we're in a sideways range. So let's just throw on this. Which pivot shall we use? This one. Yeah, let's pivot. So we can see here this range high lines up with this slightly high volume node, and then this range low lines up with the value area low, which makes it very nice. Now if we pull this along some more into the range itself, and we can see here nice and clear what's going on. So what could happen here? Well, quite simply, we're at the range lows, so it's not time to be looking for shorts. It's potentially time to be looking for longs. So what could we see? If this is the low, and we're not going to take out this liquidity here, which would surprise me, but it could happen, then potentially we're aiming back towards this value area low region here. Now this initially is going to be classed as resistance. Bear in mind, we've come down, resistance, bounced off, broken through, back tested at support, up to the highs, come back down, deviated outside value before a push up, and then now we've come back down, we've bounced off value area low before breaking down to the overall range lows. So initially we've got to consider this as strong resistance. So if price does get up here and gets a rejection, potentially got a short entry to be trading this part of the range. Obviously this is low time frame stuff, but well, it is a daily chart, but it's more intraday sort of stuff is this, in my opinion. If that doesn't happen and you get acceptance back into value, then you'll be looking up towards this region next, quite simply. Anywhere between the point of control and the EQ, you know, you got good potentials there for a reaction. So if this does happen, you come back up here, you got your short trigger. Now your short trigger again, you'll be coming back down towards the value area low. If that holds this time, then you could potentially be looking to hedge. If that doesn't hold, then again you're looking down towards the overall range lows, and again I'd be looking to grab the liquidity. You know, that's how markets move. I've said it time and time again on this channel. You know, markets move towards where the liquidity is, you know, where the most stops are going to be, you know. And if you don't understand that concept, then, you know, one thing to consider is come over and check out our website, spitfiretraders.com. Links down in the description. From here you can get access to our free Discord. If you get into our free Discord, you can learn so many free hints and tips from not only me but various other traders in there. You know, we've got over 1,000 members in the Discord now, and obviously if you do want to take your trading to the next level, then come check out our Copilot section. Monthly subscription, which gets you access then to over 80 hours worth of educational content. That content covers everything from simple beginners all the way through Fibonacci, volume, patterns, order flow, how to enter and manage trades. We've just covered compounding over the Christmas period. Obviously we'll finish psychology. We've got Elliott Wave, full course on here, and we're just about to start doing our altcoin module. So how to trade altcoins well. That's including strategies such as swing trading them, and also low time frame plays, and basically how I trade them. So yeah, if you want to learn how how we trade, then check out our website. Links down in the description. Right, back to this. So, liquidity grab. If we get a reaction and come back down. Very simple. So it's just level to level. If it does break down from here, then ultimately, let's get rid of some of this and clear it up so we can see. If this range is lost and price continues to move down, then I'd be looking for we're on log here, aren't we? Roughly around 63 cents if this range is lost. And if no reaction there, then I'll be looking back down at towards 33 cents. So again, if it does come down here and it's just a big deviation out of the range, you know, you could be looking for entries around here, or you could be sensible and wait for it to reclaim back into the range for a push up. What happens if it does break out of the range high? Well, if it does break out of the range high, takes out this high, then I'm going to be targeting, where's my box tool? There it is. I'll be targeting this consolidation here. Quite simple. I'll just be playing this level to level. Again, you know, the overall market, it's not, we're not in crazy bull market. It's not a time to long hold and hope for the best. It's just level to level plays, you know, until we start to see that high time frame structure change, you know, then you can start considering potentially longer term plays and longer term swing plays. Until then, just level to level. Okay, so that's DYDX, DidX, whatever you call it. Next, dash. What have we got here? Oh, looking at the sideways and down. Oh, actually, I've got a lot more history with this one. Let's have a look. There we go. Right, let's throw this on log so we can see. Right, so this goes all the way back to Feb 14. So this is, yes, now I remember. This is one of the old ones. Right, we can see here, now we're looking at this on Kraken. If memory serves, the Binance chart has a big nasty wick somewhere around here from memory. Big liquidation wick. So yeah, let's stick with Kraken for the time being. So as we can see here, we've got two separate ranges going on. So the first range would be, let's throw this back on the daily. So the first range would be this. Back to inception. Here. So we can see that's one range quite clearly. Got the highs, obviously we've got inception. Got the highs, come down to the EQ, float around the EQ, retest to the highs, retest to the highs, and then ultimately then that's what created the breakout. Since then, we've moved up, down, down, and obviously we are still creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So we've got no real high time frame trend change yet. So what can we be looking at here? Well, so let's throw on a volume profile of the whole thing. It's very strange that all the volume's up here. Let's throw this back here. And that's not loading. So that would say that there's some sort of corrupt data either on TradingView or Kraken here with this area. So that's not really helpful. So let's get rid of that. And let's do it from the initial breakout. There we go. Right, well, we can see we're perfectly trading within value. So that's quite simple. Now we are looking at this on a weekly, just so we can get all the price action in. Yeah, there's no reason to draw any channels on this because this is pretty obvious. So what we can see here is, obviously, we've come back down. We've tested the value area low. Now this value area low has been support, 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 all this balancing on. Then we've got this big deviation here before getting back in to value area low. So is this the time to be looking for shorts? Not really. You know, we're down at the range lows, and obviously these are macro range lows because this goes all the way back to 2017. It's never lost this range. So to the upside, if this does hold, then I'd be looking initially targeting each one of these highs as a stop hunt. Come up, if it's a swing failure pattern of the highs and a nice clear rejection, we load of trap traders at the top. Price starts pushing back down, you've got a short entry. Again with this one, if no reaction at either of these highs, then ultimately I'll be looking back up at this point of control. Now this point of control comes in at 69, great number, $69. No reaction there, trade it back through. Again, targeting each one of these highs as potential for a swing failure pattern. If no reaction, again, then you're just playing it back up, value area high. So then you are basically just trading value. You know, above value, this is where it's considered overpriced. Below value, it's considered cheap. And that's how value areas work. You know, that's trading psychology 101. So that's to the upside. Now what happens to the downside? What happens if we do lose this, and this was just a test wick, and we do lose value? Well, if we lose value, then ultimately it's pretty obvious with this. It's probably one of the most obvious charts you can see. Then you'd be looking back down at this region here, which this is coming in roughly around $15. I'm not being uber bearish there. You know, you can call me perm bull all you want, but I'm just saying this looks like quite clearly a large area of interest, because you've got resistance, 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 flipped support before the initial push. So coming back down towards this level, we could consider this as support initially. If that doesn't hold, then effectively we're just back into trading this old range. If this comes down, you get that. You got potential longs. If that doesn't happen, and it just comes down, comes back into this range and continues down, then initially, because this is such a large range, you'd be looking to trade this as one range, and if it does fall below this EQ, then you're looking at trading that. Now obviously if it falls below that EQ, then you know that's going to look quite bearish. Have we got any other confluence around here? Well, let's throw on a Fibonacci from the lows to the highs. Let's put this on a standard retracement. And let's knock it out of... That's strange, why did that happen? There we go. Let's knock this out of log. What can we see here? Well, we're below the 886 already, so realistically we've got nothing to go on there. But what we can do is we can throw the fib into log scale. We can see here. Now this is great because what we can see is we've got the 0.5 fib just above this range. So obviously there is a bit of a difference there. The 0.5 fib's coming in at roughly around $18. And this support is coming in around 15. So obviously this is a whole region. So this is what I'll be looking at. You know, do you get a reaction? If price does come down here, do you get a reaction in this area? If no reaction, then you've got your golden pocket just here. Now we know macro golden pocket has got a good chance of a reaction, but what you also want to see with that golden pocket is you want to see confluence there. So what other reasons have you got to take a trade in this level? Now the difficulty of the Kraken chart is the fact that we've got no volume analysis for back here, so we can rule that out. Is there anything else we can throw on here? Have a look. Well, what about an extension? So let's do the ultimate high from the first low to this high here. Well, we've got the 1-to-1 extension here. We've got the 1.133 here. So it's giving us a little bit of confluence there. Now if we take this out of log, it's far too deep, so it's going to have to be in log. So that's what I'll be looking for initially, roughly around this region, if this didn't hold. If this didn't hold, if this doesn't hold and this doesn't hold, then come back down towards the EQ, around the EQ, potentially take these lows into the EQ, 786 just below it. You know, it's all about finding these areas of interest. I'm not saying price is going to come down here. I'm saying if price comes down here, then we've got areas of interest. Get a good reaction, take a trade. Don't get a reaction, don't take a trade. Very simple. And yeah, that's it. So we've talked about the upside, we've talked about the downside, and yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Right, guys, thanks for staying with us. We are going to be releasing some free educational content on our YouTube channel over the coming weeks and months. So we're going to create a separate playlist. So make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that, because we're going to be dropping quite a bit of free alpha for you guys. yeah, as you were. Bye bye.